Hello, everybody. Welcome into our pre-Computer America show. Thank you for joining us. Our Google Hangouts live video stream is working again, and we are glad to see you here. We've got a terrific show planned for you tonight. In the second hour, of course, we'll have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to have Unikrn here. That's right, they do exist. And we have the company's CEO here with us, Raul Sood, who's actually been on the show many, many years before. So it should be an interesting interview. Sit back, relax, enjoy the 2 hours
1 minute until showtime
of Computer America.
Although back when he joined us, there was a different version of Ben as a co-host. So I believe. I don't think I was there for that particular one.
I don't think so. Seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
The Computer America show is brought to you by Bell Ringers. It's newer than news when you're right there as it first debuts. Visit our sponsor's website at bellringersmedia.com. Hello and welcome into the Computer America show. It's the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Computer America Show. I guess we're going to call it another Gamer Tuesday here on the show because of the topic.
As every Tuesday should be.
Exactly. And for those of you just joining us and were with us last night, again, our apologies. There was a glitch of some sort with Google Hangouts, but we are working again. We've got confirmation, and everything is back up. The technology gods are smiling upon us once more, so that's always a good place to be. Now, if you have a comment or a question or suggestion for anything we're about talking tonight, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We also have a live interactive chat room from our homepage at computeramerica.com. Just go to the, it says show lounge/chat. If you hover over that, you'll have the option of selecting a full screen chat room. But if you just if you click on the show lounge itself selection there, you'll have two things will happen. First of all, a smaller version of the chat room will open up and it'll say "Want to chat." Just put in a username. That's the name you'd be known by when you go in there, and you're in. And we'd love to see you in the chat room. The other thing that you can do, the other option is that will happen is our live computer video streaming will yes, will begin to activate. Yes, we are a radio talk show. However, we also like to stream our live video. Ben has some very cool technology that allows him to show the guests' websites, videos, everything. He can actually demonstrate that in the background, so you can actually watch that. And sometimes you can see our guests too, as you will be able to tonight. That doesn't always happen, but tonight you'll be able to see our guests as well. So I think that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to mention before we get started, Ben?
No, I think that's about it for right now. We have a couple things that I want to announce, but I don't think they're ready to announce, so no.
Okay, well, we'll just wait. Okay, well let's get to it. I know you're really into this and want to have a lot of questions for it, but we're going to be talking to Unikrn. Now it's spelled Unikrn, not the traditional way for you to spell unicorn, but it's pronounced unicorn. And this is an eSports wagering service. That's right, eSports wagering. They provide eSports fans and newcomers alike a safe and legal place to gather, game, and bet on esports. Wow. With games like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Dota 2. You say Dota or you say Dota 2?
Dota 2, Defense of the Ancients 2, take your pick.
And more. I mean, all those games. They're always something to watch and bet on at Unikrn. Their employees are all passionate gamers and see Unikrn as a way to increase the engagement and passion already surrounding esports. Now, joining us tonight is Raul Sood. Raul is Unikrn's CEO. Raul, welcome back into Computer America. How have you been?
It's been a long time, but I've been great. How have you been?
I'm doing extremely well. You were when you were last on here, you were talking about Voodoo at the time, and
Yeah, that was a long time ago. It was a company that I started when I was very young, and many years later it sold to Hewlett Packard. But at the time, I was on the cutting edge of professional gaming tournaments, and at that time there was no such thing as esports, but I've always been on the edge of gaming, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
well,
Yeah, growing up, I remember, there were really two gaming PC makers, and that was Alienware pre-Dell, and that was Voodoo pre-HP, and like it was just like if you had one or the other, people like you were a god among men. Like they were the best makers out there.
Yeah, it was some pretty incredible time. It was an industry that was highly competitive, but we figured out a way to build a niche and a really great brand in a heavily commoditized space. It was like it was something that I've always been involved with, always been into. I still play games to this day. I mean, I play games every day, and after Voodoo, I was with a big company for a while. I was with HP because they acquired the company, and then I joined Microsoft and started Microsoft Ventures, and I just had to jump out and start a new venture in gaming again. So here I am with Unikrn, and we're having the time of our life. It's a lot of fun.
now why did you pick the name Unikrn, and tell us a little bit about the company, itself?
Yeah, so the name is a good question. I mean, unicorns are rare, right? And are rare, do not exist. And a unicorn signifies the kind of people that we hire. The people on our team are all misfits. They're all the kind of people that you would never find in a big company because they don't fit in for one reason or another. We have people that are passionate about gaming, that know how to code, that they may not be the kind of people that would lead a gigantic organization, but they do have great ideas, and they get inspired by art and science. So Unikrn, it signifies the kind of culture that we're building on the team. The company is super interesting. I mean, it's at the intersection of betting and video games. And there's never been a time in our history where esports has been so gigantic and so prevalent. I mean, the opportunity is pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it grow too. It used to be when I was a kid, or not a kid, but the point is, video games were, oh well, that's just a pastime, and you entertain it. But now, it's legitimate business. It's people make careers, not only coding, but actually gaming and playing. I mean, look at Twitch. I mean, they have channels that are dedicated just to people playing video games, where they're sitting back, have commentators, and they talk about what's going on and who's where. It's just like watching a sporting event. It's amazing.
It is. In fact, the number of fans that watch esports and participate in esports is about the same as the number of fans in NHL hockey. It is absolutely massive. With over 200 million viewers last year, and it's only getting bigger. And parents, when I tell them this, when I tell my friends with kids this, they're surprised, they're shocked that people walk into stadiums like Key Arena in Seattle. It's a sold out arena for the international Dota 2 tournament that has a $15 million prize pool. I mean, wow, could you ever imagine a day where gamers could make millions of dollars a year playing video games and not only be broadcast, on to hundreds of thousands and millions of people online, but also to go to sold out arenas and be treated like rock stars. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to make an even bigger impact when I'm pretty sure later this year, I think Madison Square Garden is going to be hosting an esports tournament, right?
That is correct. Yep, yeah. And it's going to be a big one. It's a League of Legends tournament, and Riot pulls no punches when it comes to these events. They're I would say Riot is almost like Ferrari when it comes to the events they put on. Ferrari treats F1 racing as their way to create a more aspirational brand, and Riot uses the LCS, which is the League of Legends Championship Series, to get people to evangelize and get interested in their product, their core game, which is League of Legends.
So tell us a little bit about what it is you actually do at Unikrn. What is Unikrn all about?
Sure. So we allow people, our customers, to come and watch these tournaments. They can come on our site, they can watch the tournaments, and they can see odds on the outcomes of the matches and also in-game odds as well. And they can play live. They can place live bets. We believe that, and a lot of people believe that, that there's no better way to increase engagement on a sport than when you place a bet on that sport. You're going to watch it from beginning to end when you place a bet on a sport. And so we thought like there's got to be a way to increase engagement on esports. One way to do it is through betting. And so when we pulled this company together, look, it wasn't 7 months ago that we were hanging Christmas lights up at our office, setting up our new office at WeWork, and we've since raised $10 million. We've got people like Mark Cuban, who's invested. We've got Sherry Redstone, whose father was Sumner Redstone, who coined the phrase "content is king." We have Liz Murdoch, that's Rupert Murdoch's daughter. She has an exclusive fund called the Freelance Fund. We have one of the biggest and most respected wagering companies in the world as one of our larger investors. They're called Tabcorp. They're a $12 billion international company that is well recognized as being one of the most responsible wagering companies in the world. And we are their exclusive esports global partner. So they invested in us, and we have some exciting things happening. Binary Capital just came on and led our Series A round, and the partners at Binary are well known for early investing in Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Whisper, and TaskRabbit, and other companies. So they spot really interesting emerging brands, and they come in and they make investments. So we've raised $10 million. We've also created a early product. So we created an MVP, which was a minimum viable prototype of our product, and we launched it. And we created an odds engine on esports. And we started taking bets, and the traffic started to snowball. People were getting more and more involved. And we just launched a new version of our site the other day, which is what we're looking at now. So that's effectively what it is. We're a site that allows people to legally and safely bet on esports in legal jurisdictions around the world.
Well, now let me ask you about that. I mean, is when you say legal, is it illegal to bet on esports in certain cities or states? Is it a state by state? Is this a federal mandate? What's the actual legality behind this?
So let me be really clear about this. Betting on sports is actually not legal in the U.S. Betting on sports online, you have to go through a casino to be able to do this. However, we're currently licensed. We have global licenses for wagering. So we are legal in Australia, United Kingdom, and Ireland. We're opening up new jurisdictions all the time, and we have a product coming out specifically for the U.S. market next month. So we have a product that's completely legal in the U.S. and Canada, and it's coming out next month. Now, on that note, fantasy sports it's considered legal, believe it or not, to bet on fantasy sports across the U.S. And fantasy sports is the outcome of lobbying and protectionism in the U.S. It is it's kind of a weird thing, but basically it's considered a skill to build a fantasy team and place money on it. So that's why you have companies like FanDuel and DraftKings and companies like that. And there are companies that are attempting to do fantasy esports. But we believe that betting is it's a much lower barrier to entry. You don't have to be a hardcore esports fan. You can easily and quickly place a bet on a team and watch it go. So that's why Unikrn is launching a product specifically for the U.S. market. I can't get into details on it, but I can tell you it is next month. It's coming out in August.
Okay, well maybe we'll have you back, after you're launched, and talk a little bit more about it.
And we'll definitely keep people updated regardless of this, because it's such a weird gray area, because gambling has been gambling, I'm sure, has been around in the U.S. since the inception, since there were two people with a deck of cards and they're like, hey, want to have some fun? Gambling's been around forever, and there are lots and lots of guidelines. Are you kind of finding it hard to step around all these, because you're coming into this, but it's this is such new territory, but at the same time it has to use all the old, outdated guidelines, because I assume that you guys aren't going to be taking bets in Vegas. You guys don't have a parlor somewhere out in Nevada. This is all online with online currency, with digital currency. Everything is done, online and through your website.
Yeah. So look, there's companies out there that circumvent local laws with cryptocurrencies and things like that. That's not who we are. We operate in white spaces only, where we're fully legal, fully compliant with local laws. Someone like Mark Cuban would not have jumped in to Unikrn if it weren't like a very legit operation, for example, right? Our investors are very serious about what we do. What I will say is, on the point of betting, you're absolutely right. People do it anyways. They bet all the time in person and that sort of thing. But it really is a matter of when, not if, it'll happen in the U.S. It's very much a part of culture in places like Australia and United Kingdom. You can walk to any corner and you can place bets on any team, on any sport, on pretty much anything. And we're a big proponent of it. We think that it legitimizes the sport. It also almost guarantees player integrity. Because we can spot anomalies well ahead of time, before any matches or any tournament, and it increases the engagement. So it brings on more viewers, more interest, more people to the sport, and that's why we exist, right? And our thesis is being proven correct over and over again. So
yeah, I've never been into sport, I was about to say real sports, football, basketball, that kind of thing. Never really got into those, and my friends really didn't either. They're big in hockey right now and some football, but the moment that they were able to, they actually went to a website and created their own fantasy teams for League of Legends and placed down bets, and they had a whole season where they actually. They went to a trophy store and bought like a 6-tier trophy that they all pass around every year. But it's to say that it increases engagement. For anyone who's kind of onto the fence, like, oh, this is just gambling and it's about video games. That's not right. It's like they bet $50 each, for an entire year, and that leads them to getting together, every week to watch the matches, talk about it, discuss about it. I mean, it's a lot of entertainment that's not necessarily focused around money. It's more focused around the entertainment of what you're betting on.
yeah, really, what it does is it heightens the experience of the sport, of watching and engaging in the sport. We do novelty bets. I mean, our maximum bet size is $250. And it's, like everything else, and, when March Madness comes around, everybody gets in on it. Everybody bets on March Madness, but it's not done online because, betting is not a legal thing in the U.S. At the end of the day, the U.S. gambling laws are a little bit weird. Fantasy is an outcome of lobbying and protectionism. And they say that if it's a skill, it's okay. the U.S. gambling laws are bound to change because, again, like I said, if you go to Australia, you go to England, you go to any most developed nations around the world, it's a part of culture. It's something that people do, and I think people know that here. And I think as a fan of poker and as a fan of just sports in general, I think it's just inevitable. It will happen. So.
Uh, I'm
Hmm?
I'm surprised it hasn't already happened. I mean, with all this pressure to
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is with esports, esports tends to push the boundaries a little bit. Look, like regular sports, I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. In regular sports, betting companies like Caesars or any of the big betting houses around the world, they employ people to watch the games. So they employ, for example, Tabcorp employs around 400 people just to watch games, so that they can mark down what's happening in the game. So they'll mark down things like, the next interception, the fumbles, that sort of stuff, and they track that data. Esports has a potential of being able to eliminate a lot of that by just, it's all computerized. So, all that data gets picked up, and we can place really interesting exotic bets in game because of that. So esports has a potential not only to push technology, but also just to push the governments to think differently about sports in general, and different ways of monetization is a huge revenue opportunity here that the U.S. is losing on because people are betting anyways. So why not take some of that revenue, put it back into take it from taxpayers, put it back into the economy, put it towards social good, put it towards other things besides just letting it happen without paying attention to what's actually going on. So I mean, I didn't come here to lobby, but I'm just saying it is inevitable.
I think a lot of people would agree with you because the law gets very, very convoluted, especially with topics that are as complex as this. But kind of going a little bit back to your funding and people actually jumping on board with this, and you mentioned a lot of big names, a lot of big organizations. Do you have to kind of, take them out to lunch and sweet talk and be like, no, this is a real thing, trust me on this, or what's kind of your go-to strategy for, because I'll tell people about esports, and even my own dear mother will say, kids sitting around playing games for money, that's ridiculous. Like, what's kind of your argument for esports is a viable, not just for a business point of view, but also just as an industry?
So that's such a good question. I used to, when I worked at Microsoft, I started Microsoft Ventures. So Microsoft Ventures was a program where we would go and we would help startups build and grow their businesses. I ran it for a little over 2 years, and in that time we helped over 300 companies build, grow, and raise money. So I've seen startups start from nothing all around the world. So Israel, Brazil, Russia, United States, like it doesn't matter. I was everywhere, China, India, all those places, and every ecosystem is different. One thing I can tell you is you can spot trends in this in the industries just by looking at where early stage VC money is going. And as I said, we started in November. We opened up our office in December, and here we are today, and we've been snowballing. Raising money is I won't say it's easy, but I will say when you're building something that's meaningful, you have some good traction, you have a great team. Raising money is an outcome of a really great product and really great work, and so I believe when you go and you create a startup as an entrepreneur, you should never go to friends and family first. That's the last thing you should do. You go to friends and family when you've created an opportunity where some big names have come on board. And then you could say, look, instead of going out with your hat in hand and asking your mom or your dad or your brother or whatever for money, you go and you say, hey, look, check out who's invested in my company. I've got this really great idea. Would you like in? And then they all want in. Mm-hmm. So raising money is as much of a science as it is art. It really has to do with just building a really great product and getting traction. And that's all I did for years. And so when we started Unikrn, we eliminated a lot of the risk that most early stage startups go through. So it wasn't much of a sell for us. Didn't have to wine and dine anybody. Just had to explain, the market, the total addressable market, and what we're building. Share some of the technology and the vision, and people just fell in love with it.
Makes complete sense. Especially as someone who is on the other end of it, where I would like to see esports and just the whole industry grow and grow. But we've been talking a little bit about League of Legends, but what games do you actually cater to, and how are you seeing the different Like, are you seeing League of Legends? Because that's what I'm involved in. Very, very popular, and betting like this, it's I've seen it from a couple of different companies. Although yours, probably one of the easiest. Like I didn't have to read anything, and I was off and going in a couple seconds. But how's Counter-Strike Global Offensive? Because that's a game that's been around for a while now.
Yeah, so
Are they taken to it?
yeah, they are. In fact, so we support League, we support Counter-Strike, we support Dota. We're going to bring Heroes of the Storm on soon, and then there's a lot of other games that we're looking at as well. Speaking of Counter-Strike, there's this thing called the CS:GO Lounge, which is where a bunch of Counter-Strike players go and they bet items. There's in-game items in CS:GO, as you probably know. You can buy things like knives and guns and stuff like that, and they buy it with real currency, real money. And people bet those items in the CS:GO Lounge. Now, the thing is, it's an unregulated betting arena. It's run by nobody really knows, right? It's run by people who sort of like a community-run thing. It's incredibly popular, and people literally bet thousands and thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on in-game items. It is unbelievable. So when we set out to create Unikrn, we really wanted to create a safe and legal place for people to bet. And by safe and legal, we really mean it. Like, that's why we partner with Tabcorp. That's why we go on and we get the licenses. That's why we have a regulated market with regulated odds, and we promote responsible gaming and all of that kind of stuff that goes hand in hand with creating a legitimate business. But the point is, there is an appetite for it. I mean, the CS:GO Lounge is incredibly popular, and some of their customers are now coming to us because it's just an easier, lower barrier to entry thing to bet on these tournaments.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, do you think? I mean, you mentioned. I mean, there are people out there, and I might count myself still as one of them. But they say that there's some sort of stigma about electronic games or video games, that you still think of the arcades, and you go in there, and that's really not it is, and yet there are people out there that won't accept it as a real sport. What is a real sport? I mean, you have to have physical prowess to be a real sport. Well, a lot of these video games do require a certain amount of physical prowess to excel in them. Why do you think there are people out there that still won't accept this as a real sport?
So Craig, at the risk, I don't want to insult you for for anything, but I'll say to you that the people who like, because I have this debate all the time, and every time I have the debate, I say, look, there is no debate here. Look, those who don't agree are going the way of the dinosaur. Here's how I found out about it. Okay, so as I said, when I had Voodoo, I was on the cutting edge of professional game tournaments, LAN parties, right? Mm-hmm. And so I used to go to these LAN parties. I'd see them happen. It was a lot of fun, etc. But when I was at Microsoft Ventures, my son kept pushing me to leave. He's 15 years old. He has been telling me for a few years now, leave and start your own gaming company. And then he would tell me about eSports and how big it's gotten. And I started to spend time with him just to learn, like, what is actually going on here, because they never want to come downstairs and watch movies. They never want to leave their rooms. They're always on the computer watching some crazy guy, gaming on something. And I had to figure out what was going on. So he shared this with me and showed me some of the stuff that was happening in some of the games. And then my kids taught me how to play League of Legends. And at that point, I was blown away. I was completely blown away. Just by spending time in my kids' world, I realized that, oh my God, this is something that's happening that I am completely missing. And so that was one of the big reasons that I quit my job, which is not an easy thing to do. Microsoft doesn't make it easy for you to lose or to quit your job. So you quit your job, and then you go and you start a company on esports just for that reason. So that was one thing that got me going. It's a fascinating space when you start to spend time and you start to look at some of the players, and how some of these kids are making, like, tens of thousands of dollars a month playing video games online, and you realize that the size of the opportunity, it's a big thing. Now, there's an intersection that's happening right now, and it's a rare phenomenon that you see in new industries. when you see a combination of things happening, when you see an opportunity where people are able to build a sustainable income. So we look at professional gamers who can build a sustainable income playing the games, going to stadiums, big brands getting involved. So now you can get big brands like Coca-Cola, Razer, Logitech, Red Bull, all these big brands coming in and be able to sponsor. And then the other intersection is investment. When money starts to pour into it, then you start to create industries. And that's a movement, that's an industry movement that's happening. And that's what's happening in esports. And that's why it's such an exciting space. All those intersections are happening at once. So that's, that's it. You just gotta go spend the time and take a look. And I think you'll agree that it is pretty amazing to see, right? And really, by the way, Craig, a sporting event, you go to a stadium like Key Arena or Madison Square Garden, it's sold out. Instead of 3 hours like a basketball game is, it's 3 days. 3 days, right? So the fans go for 3 days in a row, and then on top of that, it's being broadcast online on Twitch, on YouTube, on Azubu, to hundreds of thousands, millions of people around the world who are highly engaged, chatting with each other, watching each and every match from beginning to end. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that. I mean, when I walked in and Ben and his friend were actually watching, a Twitch session. It was just amazing to see that happen in the interaction. Hey, listen, Raul, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're gonna take a little break, okay, and then we're gonna continue on. Ben and I are talking to the CEO of Unikrn, Raul Sood, and we're talking about esports wagering. And it's really fascinating. He's going to continue on with us right after the break. We've got some commercial messages and a news tip bulletin review from Marty Winston. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
This time travel is fatiguing. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the Rack Solutions 15-amp horizontal PDU. Equipment racks are made to hold a lot of gear, meaning a lot of items that each want to plug into an AC outlet. PDUs, that's short for Power Distribution Units, are special multiple outlet strips with rack mounting ears. Some have outlets on the front, some on the back, and some on both. We asked Rack Solutions to send their model with 8 rear-facing outlets, a 6-foot rear exit power cord, a 15-amp front-mounted circuit breaker, and a front-mounted on-off switch with pilot light. It fits in a 1U rack height. That's 1 3/4 inch tall, a standard rack height. And it's only about 3 inches deep, so there's room behind it to add any desired gizmo for organizing excess power cord lengths. Or like most folks, you can let those cords just droop. Preferences vary, but ours is to power a PDU from a rack-mounted UPS. Bottom line, a Rack Solution 15 amp 8 rear outlet horizontal PDU puts the juice where it's put to use. Marty Winston for News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin review. Thank you for that. You'll be hearing that one all week in the first hour, and a different one in the second hour. But here in this first hour, we are talking to Mr. Rahul Sood. He is the CEO of Unikrn, and it's it's a site for esports gambling and betting, and completely legit, which is good to hear, because there are a lot of fly-by-night companies out there that they operate, they do well, and they get a lot of exposure by really marketing towards the gamers that like to watch, the sponsor streamers. They'll put ads up all over websites that gamers like to go to, but I've seen a dozen of them come and go overnight, probably through some kind of shady business practice. So, but not getting that feel from you, so that's definitely good in this area.
Wow, Ben, that was a very politically correct way of putting it.
There are a lot of crooks out there, but you don't seem like one. But no. And let's say esports, and this is starting to sound intriguing to a couple of gamers out there, but they really have never done anything like this. Now I just recently got the ability to gamble in the past couple of years, and I'm not very good at it, but I get the basics. It's there are odds, there's all this kind of thing, and you go make your bet. At the end of the day, you hand someone your ticket and say, "Did I win?" and they hand you back money. What's the learning curve for esports? Is it someone who is because let's say your audience, probably being pretty young, isn't that fluent in betting to begin with. So what's the learning curve with all this?
Well, so believe it or not, so first of all, to be legal for betting, you have to be minimum 18, and most of our audience is in their 20s, in their mid to late 20s actually. Which is great, because in the typical betting company, their audience is much older, and they're trying to figure out how to get to this younger audience, which is why esports has been it's like a green pasture for them. The learning curve is such a good question. Again, we are, so as you know, we're partnered with Tabcorp. They have hundreds of thousands of customers that are used to betting on everything from dog racing to horse racing to football. Like, it doesn't matter. They'll bet on anything. They'll bet on the most ridiculous things that you could ever imagine, and they don't know what esports are. So we're in the process right now of figuring out how to onboard them onto esports, and what is the learning curve. So the learning curve of betting it's not that big a deal. It's just how do you learn the game, and so as you can see by the site, we have a blog on there, and we're starting to write articles, and we'll probably write more articles on on some of the games and how they're played and things like that. But we're also going to bring on more content to teach people the games. I mean, you've got guys like Craig who are learning the space now, right? Who probably don't play games like League, but maybe want to learn and see what it's all about. It is very exciting once you get into it. And what we've noticed is the majority, 40% of the people that watch esports or engage in esports don't even play the games. They just watch the games because they like it. Yeah. They like it, and it really is fun to watch. I mean, you've watched the LCS before, and you see how fun it is. Once you understand it, it's pretty entertaining.
Oh, there's casters shoutcasting everything that's going on, bright colors, lots of people cheering. It's I do have friends that they played for a while, but they stopped playing altogether because the game lost interest in them. But even if the game no longer interests them, watching the tournaments and watching the professionals, that doesn't get boring.
Exactly, it doesn't, and the shoutcasters, the good ones, are They do a very good job of explaining the game and things like that. The other thing is, I mean, just talking about esports generally. I mean, you guys know that it was on ESPN recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard put Heroes of the Dorm on ESPN, and they broadcast it. ESPN just came up with an issue on esports, a dedicated magazine on esports called the Esports Issue, and on the cover is Marshawn Lynch, who's a running back for the Seattle Seahawks. But inside, there's article after article about esports. There's a huge article on Faker, one of the pro gamers. It's super interesting to see this happening. So you've got some mainstream coverage coming in, and they're getting people interested in esports as well. The other thing is there's a collegiate competition going. So there's all these collegiate teams, and there's universities that are offering scholarships now for top esport teams. Because top students actually who can do really well in esports because they realize there's a correlation between super smart kids and those who can play and lead a team on games like League and Dota.
Yeah. Actually, just before the show, we have AT&T Uverse here, but it's like channel 1000, which I think is corresponds to like channel 0 or 1 for everyone else. There was a whole thing about esports collegiate athletes, and it goes through all the different colleges and all the strife and internal drama that goes on just to make it entertaining. But it's getting to the point where before you had to know what website to go to see a streamer. You had to know either had to have the game or you had to know the specific URL to go find someone. But now, I mean, it's not unheard of to find it on broadcast television. Esports is definitely getting validated very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's right, and it will continue to do so. I mean, there's a number of opportunities that we've come across where we can put our stuff on broadcast, and so I think it's just we're at a stage right now where things are early, they're moving quickly. There's a lot of interest. I mean, who knows where it's going to go in the future, but I can say it truly is a generational thing. I think the younger generations get it, they understand it, and I think the older generations either need to embrace it or just ignore it.
Or
right?
die.
Or die. And as I can see by the beauty of Google Hangouts is you can see what someone is doing, and Craig has been like surfing the internet, looking at esports stuff. I'm sure as we talk through this, just to see how fascinating the space is.
Hey, listen, I'm not that old, and I do exactly. But no. I mean, I've seen that because look, Ben, I've been watching Ben do it, and even with his friends coming over. I mean, I remember the times when they were all together. They were doing the Guitar Hero all together, but then they were certainly doing games together. But now it's just taken off. It's amazing.
I'm like this close to going pro, and Craig won't let me. He's like, no, Danny, you gotta do the show. I'm like, oh man, but the opportunity for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's the LAN parties that used to happen. I mean, Ben probably knows what I'm talking about. We bring laptops over to people's houses.
Sure.
Craig, you saw all that happening, and now it's just all virtual. Now you just
you don't
have your computer.
Still, some of my favorite memories are my friends bringing in their parents' 50-inch TV and putting it like in the kitchen, in the bedrooms, and in the living room, and just so you can't screen cheat. And we'd have LAN parties and wires running throughout the house. It looked like some kind of horror movie. It was the best time. And now you kind of get that feeling, anytime you log into Skype with your friends. It's the same thing. It's very, very enjoyable.
You don't have to have the physical presence because with everything that you have, the connectivity, it's like they're there with you anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think when you look at the old LAN parties are today's esport events, right? And they're just much bigger because the old LAN parties were run by people who played video games, which was big but not gigantic. And now people are growing up on this stuff. I mean, our kids start out at 2-3 years old playing with iPhones and iPads, playing video games, and then they graduate to console, playing Minecraft and things like that. Once you go from Minecraft to League of Legends, it's all over. Then you're hooked. Like you can't stop. So
yeah. So let's pretend we want to get some people hooked on this kind of thing. Where should they start, in your opinion, if they want to get into esports? Do they go to YouTube, look up tutorials? Do they just jump right in and look for some of the professional, games? Where should people start?
My suggestion would be to actually just download League of Legends. Like I'll start with that game because they've done a really good job of just creating a game that's highly accessible. You can download it on a Mac or PC, and you can play it. I don't recommend you play with real people because people can be abusive. So
Yeah.
I recommend you play a bot game, learn the champions, learn a few different, learn the dynamics of the game, and then spend some time on YouTube looking at League tutorials. The best way to describe League to people that are new, it's like chess because the board never changes, right? So the board is always the same, but then it meets a real-time strategy game like Age of Empires, and then it meets like a game like football, like American football. So it's like it's a convergence of the three things together in a battle arena that doesn't change. And so it's super interesting. It's a great way to get onboarded onto it. You can go check out some tutorials, and then you can watch one of the LCS tournaments. There's a whole summer series, so there's almost a tournament every weekend, and you can watch these live on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv. You can go to zubu.com. You can watch these things live and just start to spend time doing it. It doesn't take long to learn. And once you get into it, I don't think it's not something you drop. It's something that you just get hooked on.
That sounds completely reasonable because I think one thing that separates all these games is that because they're all online, it's like you can go play football and you could maybe even find an adult league at your local park or whatever, and sure, you may not be able to play at the professional level like they could, but at least you're playing football. And whereas here, it's kind of the same thing where you can have the opportunity to play at the professional level if you play, if you play smart enough, long enough, hard enough, and if you practice and practice. I mean, you have the chance to play with all the pros that you see on TV. It's when it's accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Ben, on that point, the difference between esports and regular sports is you can go to Twitch and you can watch the LeBron James, for example, I can go to Zubu and I watch Faker, who's like the best League of Legends player in the world. I can watch him for hours play the game. And then immediately after watching him practice, I can then load the game and play the game and try to emulate him. Now, imagine a day where you could actually watch LeBron practice for 6 hours and run outside and play basketball. You just can't do that, right? And so this is a fascinating space with a very quick, Twitch time and quick ability to get onboarded. Very low barrier to entry. All you need is a computer and a brain, and you can get going.
Let me ask you this, Raul. You mentioned Faker, right? He's
very popular.
What makes him? You said he's one of the best, right?
He's the best.
He is the best. What makes him that? What does he do that gives him those qualifications? I mean, what does he do?
So
deserve that.
Greg, you just go watch his LeBlanc play, and you're like, well, obviously. I mean, it's
like he is. First of all, so he's mastered all the champions in the game in all the lanes. That's like almost impossible to do. So he can pick up any champion, any position, and play. So imagine, like if you're a football player, if you're a quarterback, you're a quarterback. You're never going to be running back. You're never going to be linebacker. You're never going to be anything other than a quarterback. Well, he can be all positions in the game, which is really unheard of. The amount of skill that it takes to do that, just his ability to lead. So he embraces a high level of leadership skills, the ability to collaborate, the ability to shot call, make decisions under pressure, and like math skills have to be off the hook. This guy's got to be like just a genius to be able to do what he does. And so all of those skills are the type of traits that make a really great League of Legends player. He's a real master at this game. He's very good.
And he specializes just in League of Legends, right? That's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does. And he was discovered. He was in a very small town in South Korea, and he was discovered because he started making his way up through the ranks. People were like, could not believe the way this guy played. And now he's sponsored by 2 shoe companies, man. Tell me one athlete that has 2 shoe companies, sponsoring him. So he's sponsored by 2 shoe companies. He makes well over $1 million a year. And he will continue on that way. Like for the rest of his life, he's going to have a rock star career. When he retires from professional playing, he's going to stream. He will continue to be sponsored, and he will easily make $7 to $10 million a year just doing what he does.
Craig, to maybe associate with someone else, we recently had Raptor on the show. and we had the pleasure of interviewing Thresh.
Yes.
And Thresh was huge in Quake and Unreal Tournament. He was a huge shooter back in back in the late '90s. But I mean, he's still going around, and still people still count him as one of the best gamers. Honestly, he probably plays very well, but obviously not at a professional level anymore. But people don't dispute that in his prime, he was the best. So it's the same thing with Faker right now.
So like athletes, you're saying they have a prime, and that's it. I mean, this is not something that anybody at any age can play.
No, you can play it. I mean, I play it. I'm in my early 40s. I can play the game.
I mean, be great at it. Is he gonna? He has a limited window of opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. So when I look at Snoopy, for example, Snoopy is used to be the world's best League of Legends player. He was the best jungler for sure, and he was also on the LCS tour. He now works for us. He works at Unikrn. He's 22 years old, and he's pretty cool. He's 22 years old. He's from Scotland. He retired. Imagine retiring at 22, right? So he retired, and then we hired him as our VP of Biz Dev. Snoopy has a really interesting way to describe it. I mean, he says, look, the younger kids come up and their twitch reflexes are just faster than his. So he's actually gone on a campaign. It's called Get Fit with Snoopy. He encourages health. He encourages getting fit, and we're going to start to help promote this fit lifestyle, staying fit, staying active, and things like that. He believes, and he's right, that by staying active and by staying fit, you have much better Twitch time, much better response time than you would if you're just lazy, playing games. But he also is a realist in the sense that as younger kids come into the space, I mean, they're incredibly fast. I mean, my 13-year-old plays League of Legends and just destroys me. He's so good, and he's. I mean, at the beginning, we both started at the same time, but he just crushes me, and I play the game a lot. So, it is. I wouldn't say. I'm not going to say that I'm great, but I'm going to say like I'm good at the game, good enough to get by and learn and have fun. You could do the same thing, Craig. You don't have to be great at it, but as long your win-loss rate will be about 50%. Not bad.
Yeah. So you're saying it's a young man's sport, is what or one young person.
I'm definitely not saying man, because I'll tell you this. The cool thing about eSports is it's the one sport where you can have a man and a woman on the same team or on opposing teams and have an equal playing field where they can play against each other. And that's sort of the disappointing part of League and the opportunity. The disappointing part is in the LCS there are no women, right? And I would love to see a woman professional gamer on the LCS and not some gimmicky team where they prance them around, they do all this stuff. I want to see a team where there's men and women together, and they're there and they're playing the game and they're very competitive. And I know it's possible. My daughter plays League. She's incredible at it. I know it's possible, and there's a lot of girl gamers out there who would love to be able to do that. I think the space is getting better, but I do think the space of gamers tends to be sexist. It tends to be a little bit aggressive.
It's a bit of a boys' club.
It's a bit of a boys' club. People tend to be bullies and things like that. They tend to say stupid things. But like companies like Riot are doing a very good job of curbing that. They're making it more inviting for girls. They're getting rid of the abusers. Things like that.
Well, I know Ben doesn't use the bad language yet. His mom and I'll be here, and we'll hear things coming out of his room and realize. Did you just hear what was said? But it's not him. It's just other people making the comment. At first, I thought it was Ben. I went, no, "How can that be?" And it wasn't. It sounds like
some popular streamers. Not going to name any names. Some popular streamers don't help the argument for women should be more involved. It's kind of sad that the more popular, more vocal players out there kind of have that same mentality, but. But at the same time,
I think it'll get better, Ben. I think I'm an optimist, and I think it'll get better. Look, when I play League, sometimes there's I didn't know what this meant, but when I first started playing, I started playing with real people, and I got my butt kicked, and there's people on the game saying, "Hey, Unikrn, that's my summoner name." They say uninstall. And I thought, wow, that is so mean. And that still happens. I still get the uninstall once in a while, but I realize now that, everybody has bad games. They all have good games, but there's some mean bullies out there. And,
when they're saying uninstall to you, it means basically uninstall the game. You're not worthy.
Yeah, just quit. Just quit.
Yeah, and there's other comments they make that are absolutely brutal. But Riot is doing a good job of curbing some of that abuse. I tend to get in the face of bullies. because I think it's horrible, that people do that online.
Well,
They're anonymous.
But you mentioned this even in regular sports. There are bullies. I mean, sometimes when you go on the baseball field, you hear language that will just curl your ear. I mean, that's changed a lot, or even with football, but it still can be quite brutal. I mean, just the nature of the sport itself is brutal.
Now imagine doing that with mid-teens, late teens, early 20s, and jacking them up on Coke and Mountain Dew. Like
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And I remember when we were at Xbox, we used to, look at the people that were on Xbox Live. I don't know if Ben or Craig, if either of you played Xbox Live and listened to some of the chatter that goes on there. But my goodness, like, 12-year-olds these days. It's exactly right. We both said it. You know what I'm talking about. It is brutal. And we used to make a lot of fun of that inside the company because we'd hear it all the time. But yeah.
You think that it's going to eventually rise up to a better level, or just the nature of it is, as more people, as money becomes involved and people realize they're becoming professional, that attitudes will change?
Absolutely. So as parents get involved, just like in regular sports, and as the generation increases, these kids are getting older, and they're going to be more mature, and then they're going to have kids, and their kids get involved. Look, as the thing matures, it's going to get better. Online bullying is there. It's always going to be there. There's always anonymous people out there that are just like that. That's what the internet is. But I do believe it will get better, and it's only getting better now. People are becoming more tolerant. They're more accepting of each other. So I believe it will get better. And as long as there's people like us playing, who can stop it, who are willing to step up and say, look, don't be mean, right? Just a game. Then people realize what they're doing. And by the way, there's times when I played the game where there is an absolute jerk coming off and yelling at someone in the game, and then I'll step in and say something, and then what I'll do is I'll reward the people who are playing the game and being really nice with stuff. So I sent out a bunch of Logitech mice to all the people in that game that were really nice, and this guy who was brutal and mean was so apologetic afterwards and so sorry and stuff. I said, no, you know what? You play like that. This is what you get. And so I do that. I do that every now and then. I'll send out Logitech stuff. I'll send out credits, things like that, just for being a nice person. So. Yeah.
Well, and I guess it's gonna. I think people will become more gentlemanly. As time goes by, I do agree with it, especially when there's money involved and people are doing it professionally for a living, and it's just not just a bunch of
that's actually the opposite, because I think when people can step back and say, this is a game, there's no money riding on us playing, it's just for fun, don't treat it so seriously. I think that's when people are gonna kind of step off their high horse and say, all right, you made a mistake, but here's what you do next time. There are ways around it, but it's just gonna have to come with time. It's not there yet, but it's gonna come.
Totally agree.
So what do we expect next from Unikrn, Raul?
Well, we have a few more announcements, exciting announcements coming about people that are participating and help us grow our business that we haven't announced yet. We have a great new product launch coming out next month that are American customers. As you know, we're based in Seattle, so clearly we're not just running a business for London and Australia and Ireland and places like that. We have a great new product coming out for our American customers and Canadian customers and other countries as well, starting next month. And yeah, we're just going to continue to build a really, really beautiful product that is here to heighten and increase the engagement of people that want to watch and participate in esports. So I think you're going to see a lot of exciting things coming from us. You should watch our site and just get involved. Follow us on Twitter at Unikrn Co. We're also on Facebook, and you can go to our website at unikrn.com, UNIKRN.
Yes, and we also have the link at our website at computeramerica.com. So if you're listening to this time shifted, as so many of our listeners do, and you're not listening to us live, again, all the information is at computeramerica.com, and you can check it out for yourself. Raul, it's been a long time. We shouldn't let so much time pass before we have you back again. And certainly,
you've been so busy.
Yeah, and since you have such important new announcements and the thing, we should really should have you back. We have a lot of Gamer Tuesdays now, and certainly would love to have you back on the game on a Gamer Tuesday, not too far in the future. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I'm with Ben, by the way. I think Gamer Tuesday should be every day. Every day
Thank
should be a game day.
Every day should be a Tuesday.
That's right.
Ralph, thank you for being with us here on Computer America. It was a pleasure having you on the show tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you take
Have a
care.
good one. Thank you.
Have a
See
good
you
evening.
later.
Good
Yeah, you
night.
too.
Bye-bye. All right. All right, there you go. Again, unikrn.com, and it's spelled UNIKRN.com is the website, and you can check it out for yourself.
It's spelled like it's pronounced like unicorn, but personally, in my head I've been saying Unicron.
Unicron?
I don't know why. It's just what I want to say. It's every time it's like, okay, I need to go to unikrn.com. So UNIKRN.com. Unicron. I don't know.
Well, we got the computer technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities coming up in the next hour. And, of course, another News Tips Bold review from Marty Winston. All the good things. We've got some really interesting stories coming up. Obviously, Windows 10 is right around the corner. Ben and I will be right back. We're just going to go for a few short moments. You're listening to the Computer America Show.
$250,000. That's how much it costs today to accomplish even a modest nationwide launch for a new product or new service. The people you work with who handle those activities can tell you how much they hate that. And you can tell them about how to get a much bigger bang for far fewer bucks, at least for unannounced new products or new services that debut on or after August 31st. Get them to take a look at bellringersmedia.com. That's BELLRINGERSMEDIA.com. It starts with a long segment on a nationwide radio show that more than 50 million people can hear. And on that same day, PressWire releases to traditional and online and social media, full coverage on SlashGear, and more. The Monday through Friday show only takes products nobody's heard about before, so it's always newer than news. Get your guys to take a look at bellringersmedia.com and help them quell the pain of that $250,000 budget drain, but they need to hurry. September segments are booking now.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into the second hour of the show. Again, thanks to Raul Sood, CEO of Unikrn, for being here with us. So we're going to have him back again. Very interesting guest. He's been on the show before years ago when he was with Voodoo.
With Voodoo.
Yeah, exactly. And
for anyone who goes out there and checks out the Unikrn site, they're running a nice little promotion right now where they'll actually, for anyone who signs up with Unikrn, they're going to be entered to win an HP Omen.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I didn't know this until a little bit of research, and I guess Mr. Raul, he kept some contacts over there at HP because the Omen line is actually the Voodoo line of PCs. Because again, Voodoo was purchased by HP, and HP kept its spirit alive in the Omen line of products. So, what is essentially a Voodoo PC, you have a chance to enter at at unikrn.com.
They were one of the it's considered to be one of the fastest gaming computer.
Yeah, it's just like now with between AMD and Intel with graphics cards and processors. It like the same fight was going on back then, but with gaming computers between Alienware and Omen.
Right, exactly, and so
like they traded the title a lot, and then HP kind of purchased them, and Dell purchased Alienware, and then like that particular fight just kind of didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Speaking about Dell, it's funny you should mention them. They're going to be on the show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
10 p.m. We're going to have Dell on the show, and they're going to be talking about some of the newest computing lines. We're going to have Don Heath, who was the marketing director for Dell, talking about some of their
Just in time for back to school.
yeah, exactly. And then also they're introducing a new printer that we're going to be hearing about as well for what they call everyday printing. Going to be a good show. Okay, so again, thanks to Raul for that, and we'll get him back on the program, I'm sure. In the meantime, make sure that you go to the Computer America website. We have all of the things that we do here at Computer America at the Computer America website, and I encourage you just to go there and go to the homepage and check out all of the different things that we have. One of the things we just started is our online store. We've had an online store for so long, and then we kind of dropped it for quite some time. We brought back the online store. You can see it right there.
It is an adorable little store. Here, let me pull it up on the video. Yeah, it's top right button, online store, right next to demo reel. Don't worry about that. It doesn't involve you. But online store, and yeah, no. Anywhere from pajamas, t-shirts, sweaters, maternity, tank tops. Don't really need that, but hey, some people do. Messenger bags, laptop bags, tote bags, hats, shirts, polo shirts, thermoses.
Yeah, we're gonna get when Ben goes out to a CES or the next E3, we're gonna have him wearing one of those polo shirts that look really snazzy.
Actually, now that you mention it, I don't see. Oh yeah, there they are, right there. Yeah. You're right.
And there it is. So check out the Computer America store. We have a number of things that, as I said, that we've added to it. We have a lot of interesting testimonials too. If you go under the advertise, you can read some of the nice things that people say about Computer America. That's always fun. I'll give a little plug for that. That's a little self-serving, yes, but it's there. So also the press release.
Why have a show if you can't be self-serving?
That's right. And the press releases, news, and info. You can read the latest happenings. You can go to the press releases. You can see all the new things that are going on. Everything you really need to know about the show is there. The guest calendar. Also, we keep improving it and tweaking it. The guest calendar will show you who's coming up on the show, who's been on the show in the past, who's coming up the show in the future. Not only before you can only look like 1 week. Now you can go month after month and just get an idea of who's going to be on the show. And you can see the names. If you hover over there, click on them, you can get a little bit more information. So it's all that is at computeramerica.com. We're going to also add free software. There's a couple new ones we still haven't added. I plan to add those in the next few days. Some new free software products that are there. You can check out. Of course, access to the Facebook and YouTube and feeds. Everything is there on most every page at computeramerica.com. Or under the Interact button, you can go to social media contests where we give away a Logitech Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse every Friday, valued at $80. Just enter in our contest basically just by subscribing to any one of or combination of all the different social media outlets that we frequent. You only have to do that once, and then if you do it 2 or 3 different ones, you'll have that many entries every single week. Every Friday, you have a chance of winning some really nice prizes. It's all at computeramerica.com. Check it out. Okay. That said, anything else you want to mention before we do some news?
No.
All right. Well, let's do some computer news then. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. So why not download all of them? I mean, they truly will do everything that I said. They'll clean, optimize, speed up your Windows system. They do it extremely well. Keep them, keep them on your computer. You're going to use them, and you can use them in the background. Ben actually had a demonstration of it not too long ago. It really does what it says. You'll be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. SlimwareUtilities.com. Okay, so our first story of the evening is that there's an update to Windows now. They're saying update Windows now. In other words, update Windows now to avoid a hijacking threat.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, this is again from Maximum PC's
This happened last night, and I was like, I don't recall, because I expect my computer to restart, late at night on a Tuesday.
Mhm.
That's just, how Microsoft works. They do patch Tuesdays. But no, if you have yours set to automatically update and restart your computer, you probably got this last night.
Yeah, and that's kind of a rare move according to this, and it is because usually Microsoft has issued an out-of-band, basically read emergency security patch for Windows to address a 0-day vulnerability that could allow a hacker to take control of the system remotely. Wow. The security threat and subsequent patch affects all supported version of Windows, including Windows 10. Okay. So evidently they discovered this and they want to get it out as fast as they can. And there's a quote here that says the vulnerability could allow remote code execution if a user opens a specifically crafted document or visits an untrusted web page that contains embedded open type fonts. So they went to the font, the open type font mechanism to do that, which is
there are flaws everywhere, it seems.
Evidently. And if you don't patch it, okay, basically your system you could take over your system, install programs, and view things, or just delete your data.
Install programs, view, change, or delete data, and create new accounts with full user rights.
Yeah.
See, now that would be a good way if you have a computer, beforehand that you can connect to the internet and those, everything going on there. Go in, create a new user account with full privileges, and then just log into that one and do whatever you want with that computer, including wipe the hard drive, make it clean, ready for resale after you stole it. Not good.
And there are multiple vectors to exploit this vulnerability. For example, you could be convinced to open a specially crafted document, while another option is getting a user to visit an untrusted web page that contains these embedded open type fonts. Now, this was discovered by researchers who, basically comb through numerous emails that were made public after Italian security outfit hacking team was itself hacked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even the experts are susceptible. That's good.
It is. Yeah, exactly. A lot of them are very crafty. I get, for example, I just got an email saying, that the FedEx delivery we couldn't be delivered. Click here to to reschedule your package. Well, heck, fortunately, I knew that I hadn't had a, I didn't do it because I knew that it was, and then my antivirus caught it. It actually came up with the notification saying, "Hey, this is don't click on this," which I thought was very impressive. The antivirus product, Avast, that actually caught that. But the point is, some of these things are really, really clever. Yeah, and they sound legitimate. They read legitimate. After all, you get packages all the time. But a legitimate FedEx, I guess, won't send you an email saying, "Hey, we couldn't deliver," or click this link or something. You just have to be careful. So evidently, the article goes on to say if you have automatic updates enabled, Microsoft says you're all set. You don't have to really do anything. And this also is why Microsoft is forcing automatic updates on Windows 10 home users. Although Windows 10 users will have the option of putting off the updates for up to 8 months. But if you have a Windows 10 home unit, you've got to do the update right away. You won't be able
to. It may be a little inconvenient because I personally don't like restart my computer too much. I like it just sitting there ready to go. But it's not going to hurt anything to just have your automatic updates on there. Very, very rarely does an update push through that just makes your computer completely, nothing will make your computer completely unusable. And there are even fewer instances where certain programs are affected to the point where those programs are now useless. I think there was one a while ago with Quicken, and there was one other with one other, I want to say Norton. But all in all, the automatic updates really don't hurt that much.
Yeah,
it's good for you. Just take your medicine. It's good for you.
Okay. Well, anyway, there it is, and we're almost there. July 29th.
Yeah, no, just a week and a day away.
Yep, it is. Okay.
Week and a day and away. All right. How about this one? This one was slightly hilarious. LifeLock.
Oh yeah.
You may know them. They are the one with the incredible marketing and advertising campaigns. They promise to keep your identity safe from identity theft. There was even that I believe the founder and CEO
Yep.
had the billboard truck. They drove around New York City with his actual social security number.
Yep.
And said, "I don't care. I'm safe with LifeLock."
Yeah, we actually had the show a couple of times too.
Yeah. Fun fact. He was actually compromised about 10,000 times because of that.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a smart move to begin with, but yeah, they're in the news again with LifeLock, saying that if you listen to any talk radio except us, you've probably heard one of the you've probably heard of LifeLock. By the way, this article in Gadget, Sean Buckley, and FTC slams LifeLock for false advertising yet again. So the company doesn't actually have that good of a track record. Back in 2010, the FTC hit the company with $12 million in penalties for false advertising. And it turns out they're in trouble again, saying that it's the FTC is charging the company with violating its 2010 settlement order for the exact same reason. So LifeLock failed to protect its users' sensitive and personal data, including credit cards, social security, and bank account numbers, from at least October 2012 to March of last year. So about a year and a half, where they were unable to keep people secure. And worse still, the FCC claims that LifeLock failed to meet the record-keeping requirements of the original 2010 settlement. So, not good. The FTC promised to take action against the company and its false claims, but for now, the details are still sealed by the court. But the FTC has a pretty strong case because these are very clear that you have people who trust LifeLock, pay the monthly fee, and have to unfortunately go through all the hassle of getting your identity back after someone steals your credit card, your social security, your bank account numbers, any of those. The FTC is going to take that very, very seriously because fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. And this is the second time the FTC has had to come after LifeLock for for false advertising.
Yeah,
this is and I believe we've had LifeLock on the show
a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times. We're obviously going to reserve judgment, and you can still go back and check out those interviews. I think they're somewhere floating around on the internet. But the best, you can pay LifeLock all day long, but I think the individual, yourself, is still going to have to be your greatest advocate. Your best chance of being secure are going to be steps that you take. And then, I'm sure LifeLock provides a service that, in conjunction with smart practices, like, making sure your computer doesn't have malware on it, making sure not to go to any bad websites, don't keep your information in open places, things like that, along with LifeLock can go a long way. But if you just go willy-nilly and expect LifeLock to keep up their end of the bargain, sounds like the FTC advises against that.
Well,
what is there to say? They were hit once back in 2010. They're getting hit again now for the same reason. It's a pickle.
Yeah, it is. Well, for those of you who have updated their iOS device to 8.4, which is the latest version of the iOS operating system for the Apple iPhone and iPads. One of the things that they took out or killed.
This was so sad when I heard about it, because this is actually a feature that I've used before.
Home sharing for music. They took it out. And And evidently,
Oh, and by the way, for anyone out there who doesn't know what home sharing is, it's a feature that you go in through iTunes, and let's say you have a base computer that has all your iTunes library on it. You can then stream it to any other iOS device
Yep.
that you can get permission on the same Wi-Fi network. So you have your computer in the den, and then you go and you have your tablet or your phone or maybe even another computer in the living room on the same Wi-Fi network. Bing, bang, boom, through home sharing, you can access everything through iTunes through the other iTunes account. So it was a very, very nice feature, but they just killed it out of the blue.
yeah, and they said it was just it wasn't ready at the time. Well, evidently Apple.
It worked fine, but okay.
Well, evidently Apple is saying that that they appear to be ready to bring it back. Okay. Home sharing for music is now included in the 4th beta of iOS 9 for developers. Okay. If you're a public tester, you won't find it because it's only for developers at this point. But they're obviously working on it. They've been working to restore the feature, even though there was no indication of when that would be happening. But now it's here. And so we can be pretty rest assured that when iOS 9 comes out, home sharing will return. Just a good thing. So we're glad to hear that.
Yep.
Okay.
Can't wait for that to come back. It was actually a very, very nice, simple to use feature.
Very useful too. Yeah.
Very useful. All right. Next story. This one also from Gadget. They have a lot of good articles today. Devendra Hardawar. Don't make me say that 10 times fast.
That was easy for you to say.
Thank you. No, this is from Gadget. The Good Dinosaur trailer, Pixar makes CGI look real.
And I've seen this.
You watched the trailer yourself. You were too distracted by the main character to really look at the scenery, the background, the textures, the environment. But let's start from the beginning. There's a new Pixar movie coming out. Yay! Okay. It's called The Good Dinosaur. November 25th comes out this year, and it's from the same makers of Inside Out. And I believe they give a credit from one other, but hey, it's Pixar. Don't expect anything Pixar isn't. But they said that it's, and the author kind of points that it's the best look at it's the best looking CGI to date, and I have to agree. Like,
it looks like it's outside. You look at the forest, you look at the trees, they look really natural. You have these goofy little Pixar characters in it, but the trees and the sky and the ground, everything.
Oh, the Pixar characters look like they're straight from Toy Story 1. Like that kind of element hasn't really changed much. But the trees, the grass, the background, the mountains, the clouds, the sky, the sunshine, the water, everything, that looks as real as I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
it looks extremely real. Of course, it's very jarring when you see the Good Dinosaur. I believe his name is Arlo. When you see the dinosaur, he's kind of floppy with big feet, giant eyes. Very, very cartoonish looking. And you send him in this environment that looks so real. It's a little jarring. But I mean, they just announced the trailer today, and you should definitely go check it out. Again, it's called The Good Dinosaur. And just give people a little background into what the idea of this one is. This is what happens if maybe 65 million years ago the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, what if that missed Earth, and we're led to and now we have dinosaurs that have been coexisting with humans, or humans are just on the rise, and now they're starting to live alongside dinosaurs. This isn't, this is of course asking you to throw out everything about, about history, but and it's your classic boy and his pet dinosaur idea, except the dinosaur is named Arlo and the boy is named Spot. So the boy in this case is now the pet, and the dinosaur is the main character.
Right. And
it's playing, it's going to play a little bit off of that, what if human was the pet to the more advanced dinosaur. And but really go take a look at the trailer and pay special attention to the grass, the sky, the water, the mountains, the clouds, all that kind of stuff. It looks better than any other CGI movie I've seen.
It looks as though they've taken these cartoon little characters and put them in the real world. That's what's happening, and because that happens, that's why it's hard to associate that. The brain works in funny ways. It's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to animate a real human being, from CGI, because we have all these little facial flaws. We have skin imperfections or hair. We're not what's called, not a mirror image of left and right. One eye might be slightly higher than the other. I mean, that's just human conditions, and those imperfections makes it very difficult to use mathematical models to create that. I know, for example, in Final Fantasy, they made a movie of it. That was one of the key things, was the characters started to look more human. They still weren't, but they were a lot better than before. Now, what's the interesting twist to this is that we're now seeing sky and trees and grass that look photorealistically real. I mean, they're also, and then you see these little goofy, cartoonish characters.
And then it's Pixar. It's they have their own animation style, and it's still the Pixar characters. It's just set in photorealistic,
Exactly.
settings.
And that's what kind of threw me off, because when I first looked at it, I couldn't figure what.
Did you get a chance to go back and take a look at it a second time?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. And because of that, I can see it now, and it makes a lot more sense. But be prepared to. It's like watching everything is real, except for the only thing that tells your mind that what you're looking at isn't real are the main characters that are in there. But the rest of it could be actually filmed in a real world, but it's all math, it's all CGI, and it's amazing. Now, one of the things that you will see on the characters is reflections. You'll see their skin will have little reflective things, so it'll make either they're shiny or slick or something. You'll get some of that on the characters, but they don't want the characters to be photorealistically real. They don't want.
No, they're not trying to pass off. This is what dinosaurs look like. Right. No, not at all.
No, not at all. But again, the environment there, and you should take a look at it. And there's a video there, and you should watch it and see what.
I can't wait to have Ralph Bond on the show again, because I have no doubt that Autodesk was a huge part or a huge player in this. They're a huge contractor to Pixar, so this must be like their latest and greatest that they're working over at Autodesk.
I'm sure it is. Okay, again from a gadget. A lot of good stories from a gadget this way. Again, this is by Andrew Tarantola. He said, right now on your iPhone, when you have that Touch ID, it's on the little home key, and you press it. He's saying that your next phone could have a fingerprint reader on the screen. The entire screen could now be the fingerprint reader. And this, according to a security technology firm, Sonovation, because they recently unveiled a novel means of embedding an ultrasonic fingerprint reader directly into a Gorilla Glass display. Now, is that slick or what?
This could, if they get this to work, this could spell the ending of the home button.
Yeah, well, they're already rumored. The iPhone 7 is rumored not to have a home button anymore. So this would, if anything, would certainly continue on. I mean, now how
are there rumors for the iPhone 7 when, I think the next one's the 6S still hasn't come out?
No, right. But they were talking about because usually from the 5 to the 5S, the 4 to the 4S, that's usually an improvement, but it's not a giant step. It's usually an upscaling of the
hardware.
Yeah, of the features, right? But the big things is when you go to the next number, and that's why they said they believe the iPhone 7 will have something like this built into it. Now, seeing the story out there, it's certainly possible, because I think Apple does use Gorilla Glass. They use that screen. So now you'll be able to press anywhere on the screen. Finger grease smudges allowing. Apple has been working on a similar idea, although it doesn't seem likely would see a buttonless iPhone for at least another year. That's what I'm saying. The 6S won't have it, but the 7, we did a story a few weeks back that the iPhone 7 might actually not have a button anymore. The home, it'll be all screen. But anyway, they now have the technology to do this, again, from Synovation. So just thought you'd like to know that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm so over having a home button.
There it is.
It's it's going to require some unforeseen hardware and coding, because without the home button, where do you press to start it? Do you just press anywhere? Do you press in a very specific spot? It's gonna have to take some finagling,
or it could be just the button at the top. You press it down,
or it could be the power button.
It could be like the iWatch does that now. They have the Force technology. So you might just press on the glass anywhere and that'll start it up. It could be very well.
What about if you wanted to take a screenshot of your phone?
You could do that too.
It's little things like this where you're not gonna it's not gonna be completely intuitive, because actually I didn't even know this for a while, but if you want to take a screenshot of your phone, just press the power button and the home button at the same time.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
I'm just saying, like things like that, they're not the most intuitive. So without the home button, really, other than the power button and of course the volume up, volume down, there aren't going to be many buttons left on this thing.
No, there won't be.
It's just going to be a screen, and that could lead to a very slick, nice looking device.
Well, again, I've said this before. Every time when you watch a sci-fi movie, they always want to show the phone of the future. It's always a square, rectangular piece of plastic, and it's completely transparent. And then
you turn it on, or you use it, or you interact with it, and then it darkens, and it's a fully functioning phone.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we got another break coming up here. We're going to have another News Tips Polls review from Marty Winston, some commercial messages, and then we'll continue doing more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Ben and I will be right back.
Did you know that close to 5 million people listen to Computer America? Marketers today, maybe because so many of them are millennials, don't really appreciate the forgotten power of radio. And Bell Ringers is about to kick that up a notch. Starting August 31st, it's an hour, Monday through Friday, on so many stations nationwide that more than 50 million people will be able to tune it in. 4 times each show, a 3-person team will debut and describe an unannounced new product or new service. So what they showcase is always newer than news. That same day, they get news about it out to traditional online and social media. Get full coverage on Slash Gear and more. It doesn't sound like anything else on radio, maybe because they have a budget of more than $10 million per year. It's a monster way to launch new offerings. You can tell the marketers you know to check out bellringersmedia.com. That's BELLRINGERSMEDIA.com, but please tell them to hurry. September segments are booking now.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
I hope your ears are ready for this. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Pioneer Portable Blu-ray Burner. How often you work with optical discs these days? On how many of your desktop or laptop computers? Does it make sense to pay for another optical drive every time you buy a new PC? How many of those that you have are able to handle newer formats? Pioneer surprised us. We thought they were sending an internal drive for a new system build, but instead we got in the Pioneer BDR XS06 slimline, slot loading, portable Blu-ray burner, barely bigger than a DVD jewel box. It's a USB 3 drive that can read and burn in more CD, DVD, and Blu-ray formats than we've ever used. Slot loading means there's no tray, which also helps keep it slender, but does limit it to normal discs, not the silly ones with funky shapes. Thanks in part to its electronics and in part to the super speed USB connection, its performance is awesome. Bottom line, the Pioneer BDR XS06 portable Blu-ray burner is a sleek, chic streak of lightning for using optical discs. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin Review. If you didn't catch it, or for any reason other than that, there's always our archives, which you can go check out at our homepage at computeramerica.com, or of course you can just wait for tomorrow night. You can catch it there again as well. So, but we're doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities, and just a little bit of variation up there because Engadget did have a lot, was the bulk of tonight's stories, but let's get some variation there. And this next one comes from VentureBeat.com. Don't usually go to them, but Miss Ruth Reeder. Yeah. And this is about PayPal. We covered last week that PayPal and eBay have officially split, and PayPal was looking to start, its own little journey out into this big scary world. And
what a journey it is.
Here's a fun little fact: PayPal is now worth 33 times what eBay paid for it back in 2002.
Wow.
So, PayPal closed out its first day back on the stock market at $40.48 a share, which is about 33 times what eBay originally paid for it per market share. Wow. So, though PayPal started trading below its original target of $45 per share, there's lots of room for growth. Already, the company is being valued well above its anticipated market cap of $47 billion. And while we here at Computer America probably aren't the ones to listen to if you want to play the stock market, I'm going to go out on a limb with my 0 years as a stockbroker and say PayPal, from a tech point of view, has nowhere to go but up. I mean, it's Elon Musk still has a huge share, still has a huge stock in it, and to say that Elon Musk is letting anything fall off the table, he has a lot of projects going on, and they're all doing great.
Hey, I have a tip. I have a stock tip for you.
What's that?
Apple.
Well, if you can't afford half of a share, or if you want to, kind of be invested in something else, because Apple, I think, is still at like what, $700 a share.
Crazy.
Somewhere ridiculous. But at $40 a share, personally, it seems like PayPal has split off, and as soon as they cut ties with eBay, or not all ties, of course, but they've kind of unintertwined or deintertwined or twined their way apart. Yeah. PayPal is going to start being in a lot of different places at the same time. I think they're going to be they are in a position to be like the go-to company if you want to, let's say, transfer money from person to person, if you want to do any kind of online retail, if you want to do X, Y, and Z. I think PayPal is kind of poised to be the best and most prolific payment solution on the internet. So, saying that their anticipated market cap of $47 billion seems like a lot. I think for as much as PayPal can potentially become part of our lives, I think that's only going to go up.
Yeah,
they have they have such a huge mental what's it called? Like when people recall online payment methods, PayPal springs to mind. It's like
Huge
word correlation.
They have a huge presence.
Yeah, they have a huge presence, and of course, it is what it is. So compare that with eBay's market cap. eBay not going anywhere, but obviously there's going to be some adjustment pains because they did let go a very, very profitable part of their company.
Why did they do
So,
that? I guess they made a lot of money doing it.
well, oh yeah, no, they made tons and tons of money by PayPal selling out, and of course, eBay is of course going to shrink because they just chopped their company essentially in half, but eBay is still going to be able to stick around, and PayPal is going to be able to grow bigger and bigger. So, I'm sure that the higher up, the board of directors, the executives, I'm sure they still have their hands in both pots right now. So this makes complete sense from a financial standpoint because, hey, now if you can invest in PayPal without investing in eBay, you stand to make a lot of money. And if they both continue, you make more. It's kind of like doubling down. But yeah, no. So back to eBay, market cap of $33.64 billion. And after spinning off PayPal, eBay stock was trading down at $26.89. By the time the market closed, eBay rebounded slightly, up roughly 2.4% from its opening price. So it took a huge hit, but that is to be expected when a company spins off the very, very profitable part of their business.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Jeez.
Yep. And not only that, but PayPal is expected to grow by 15% over the next quarter. So,
I want to know if we're still going to see the integration of the two services right now.
For sure.
If I buy something on eBay and it'll take me directly to invoice into PayPal, they're all kind of intertwined, which is kind of nice. I hope they don't let that go.
No, they didn't split on like bad terms. I want to make that clear to people. It's not like they split off PayPal and they're like, I never want to see you again, PayPal. And eBay is like, fine, I don't like you anyways. And also you drink all the milk. Like it's not like they split on bad terms. They just split for purely financial reasons, and they're both going to exist. They're both going to be completely integrated with each other. This is just so that PayPal can grow at its own stellar rate and eBay can continue to exist. And it's again, it was just for money. It's no bad blood.
Okay. By the way, you're looking at the picture there. I think it looks like Times Square or something with that big PayPal sign.
That is indeed New York City Times Square.
Yeah. Is that sign? That sign is electronic, and it looks like it's curved. That NASDAQ. Yeah. Are those windows in there, or is that?
No, it's a transition.
It's a transition. So that whole thing that looks like a really cool. When I was there, I didn't see that last time I was in New York.
Yeah, Times Square's been changing.
Yeah, it has. There's no cars there. Like you can all. There's no vehicle traffic. You just walk through it.
No, it's kind of like a giant commons.
Yeah. They really need to do that. That was not a bad idea. Hey, PlayStation 4 folks, guess what? If you have felt left out because Sony had no remote control for you, well, evidently, according to Engadget again by John Fingus, the PlayStation 4 will get an officially licensed media remote. And I got a picture of it here. It's got all the TV and the power and the stations, up, down, left, right, enter. All this you find typically on a video remote control. And evidently, the Harmony setup is going to include this. Now, I'm wondering if this is Logitech's Harmony. Okay. Well, basically, with the PlayStation 4, you're usually stuck using the gamepad. Well, the next best thing is coming. Accessory maker PDP. Okay, it's not Logitech. PDP has quietly unveiled an officially licensed PlayStation 4 media remote control.
Well, it's made by another company, but it still has all of the PlayStation 4 codes in it.
Yeah, and it's got the triangle and the circle, little X, little square box, and it's got all those little buttons on it. It's got the yellow, blue, red, and green key.
This would be great for anyone who not so much into games, or maybe you can still be into games, but you really want to use your PlayStation as an entertainment console, like an entertainment hub, where you want to let's say watch Netflix, pop in a DVD, do that kind of thing. This remote would come in handy for you. And the idea isn't unheard of. I remember having one of these for the original Xbox and the Xbox 360.
Mhm.
So
But the
this
Xbox
isn't
One,
new.
but the Xbox One has its own remote control, does it not? I think it does.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. But anyway, so if you're watching TV or watching movies, you can get this now. PDP hasn't formally announced when it's going to be available, but U.S. retailers have it shipping in October for $30. That's not bad. Okay. Although they say it's not a trivial amount, but it could be worthwhile, especially if you use your PlayStation 4 to watch a lot of Netflix videos, and so this would actually be better than holding a gaming controller. Is a little bit more awkward. It's meant to be held with both hands.
Well, yeah.
The remote you just want to hold with one hand, and flick through things. And so it's
Like, I wouldn't say holding a controller is awkward, because they put a lot of man hours and a lot of time into testing the perfect, the perfect way that a controller feels in your hand. But for a one-handed experience, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the controller is definitely a two-handed operation, whereas this you can just hold it. It looks like it's a rectangular. It looks just like a regular remote control, but it's got all the PlayStation buttons and features. Anyway, it's going to cost $30, and you'll be able to get it in October. PlayStation 4 remote.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Next story here while we're doing our computer technology news. How about this one? This one is shame on everyone who does this. Although I hear the videos are amazing. This one from Engadget, Andrew Tarantola. And this one is shocking that they even need to have legislation for this. But California, if you didn't know, if it's not threat of a giant earthquake, if it's not severe drought, if it's not something else cataclysmic happening over in that fine state, they have wildfires. Crazy wildfires. Happens all the time. I'm sure it's a nice combination of all of those, of all those other factors. And firefighters last week found themselves in a pickle when they were unable to deliver aerial water coverage for nearly 20 minutes because a couple of guys were flying their quadricopter directly overhead of the fire. So, so for 20 minutes they couldn't drop their payload. I'm sure that cost hundreds of dollars in fuel and I'm sure acres and acres of forest land. So this,
I don't get why couldn't they just drop the water and knock the drone out of the air with the water? I mean, why wouldn't they do that?
There's legislation on the books preventing them from doing that. Like, they can't just destroy private property willy-nilly. You don't want, let's say a fire truck driving by and smashing into your car, and then you have no legal recourse. There are laws on the books for this kind of thing. But now there's a law in the book for the exact opposite. This coming from a bipartisan, Assemblyman Mike Gatso and Senator Ted Gaines. They introduced the Senate Bill 168. And to quote the bill, immunity to any emergency responder who damages an unmanned aircraft in the course of firefighting, air ambulance, or search and rescue operations.
Yeah.
And the bill also has stiff fines and potentially even jail time for anyone who is using an unmanned aerial vehicle to inhibit an emergency responder.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
So, this isn't the first time. There are lots and lots of instances where drone operators were risking their lives to film wildfires and other horrible natural disasters and things like that. This is just it didn't the bill didn't stipulate how firefighters would deal with the offending drones, but one can guess water cannon, dumping the water directly on them, just whatever it takes to get those pesky unmanned aerial drones that are just looking for a good picture, get them out of the way. Sorry if that's your drone, but hey, you didn't need to be there. Let the professionals, do their job.
Little Laws rocket, just go, just shoot it down. Exactly.
It's yeah, I guess it's gotten to the point where they finally said, you know what? No more of this. If you get one shot down by a water cannon because it's in the way, that's completely your fault. Don't do it.
Yep. So drone owners everywhere, beware.
And hey, it's never really a good idea to go out and to go out and drive to a forest fire and go fly your drone just to get some pictures, at the risk of your life, because wildfires, they're unpredictable. They change based on which way the wind's going, and the wind can change in a moment's notice, and all of a sudden someone's sitting there in their car who thinks they're safe, the wind changes directions, you're now trapped. That's just not where you want to be. So Computer America Nation, be safe. Don't risk your lives for some goofy pictures.
Okay, sounds good to me. Although the picture of those fireworks with that drone flying.
Oh, they were amazing. I love it when people fly their drones in dangerous situations. It's perfect.
But it was beautiful. The video was just certainly memorable. Okay, another one from Engadget. Here they are. But for those of you out there who are using Office 365, the Office in the cloud, something or any Office app, actually doesn't matter. Google Drive now will sync files directly from Windows Office apps. This is very, very good. This is something that really is just a natural development. According to Billy Steele from Engadget, he says, Google already added tools that help Drive play nice with Office files, and now it's offering easy access from inside Microsoft's apps. Okay, so with a new plugin, you can now open files for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint from Google Drive. Isn't that slick? Open there.
Nice integration.
Yeah. And when the time comes, you'll be able to save them in Google's cloud-based repository too. That's going to be nice. Now, he says it seems simple enough to use, and it's sure to come in handy for folks who prefer Google storage options over Microsoft's, because Microsoft obviously has it too, but still use Office to get done. Okay, so there it is. Now, the add-on works for Office on Windows machines, and there isn't any mention of when or if we can expect the same for the Mac, but I'm sure that it will happen, quite frankly. I think it will happen. I mean, but this integrate. We're seeing more and more of this seamless integration between these different systems, and that's really a good thing.
See, and it's like, I don't think it's really planned. Like it's not like some kind of backdoor deal is happening where
No.
Microsoft and Google are plotting to take over the the market. It's just, it takes like a team of coders a couple weeks, I'm sure, to build an app that and Windows 10 is going to be full of apps, like applications in the fullest sense, just like a smartphone, where you can make little plugins for all these apps, just like you can make plugins for the Chrome browser, where you send a team to build these apps, and you just start to integrate them piece by piece. And if you don't want the integration, don't download the app. But if you do like that kind of redundancy and just ease of use, then go out and get it. It doesn't take much for these companies to do it, but I think at the end of the day, the people using these products are better for it.
Yeah, certainly. Google Drive now becoming fully integrated with Windows Office.
Yeah.
Good.
This one is a little long,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not going to. But if you like, check it out. No, I am going to do it. Mm-hmm. Popular Science, Dave Gershcorn, and big automakers need Nokia's maps for their driverless car future. Who knew Nokia was even still a thing?
Yeah.
So Audi, BMW, and Daimler fight Uber and Google with sweet data.
Mm-hmm.
So the autonomous car industry is beginning to take shape with the impending acquisition of Nokia's mapping software, which is called HERE, which already has a focus on humanized driving. German companies Audi, BMW, and Daimler are about to make a deal with Nokia to buy the mapping software for about $2.7 billion. Talk about being in the right place at the right time, Nokia.
Yeah.
So with this software, they said the car makers will be able to position themselves to compete in a market soon to be flooded with autonomous taxis by Uber and Google. Oh, for anyone out there who didn't know, Uber is huge into automation, and as soon as they can get their hands on as many and like seriously as many autonomous cars as they can, they're going to be putting these things in like New York City, Paris, Rome, like Tokyo. Uber is going to be putting autonomous taxis all over the world.
Wow.
So this kind of these kind of baby steps. As soon as it's legal in all these places and they can get their hands on these cars, Uber is going to flood the market. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So much for the taxi industry.
Sorry, taxi industry, but Uber obviously found a nice market, and they're jumping in head first. I can't even say that I'm sorry to see it because it sounds exciting.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was just like what happened with Blockbuster. They were the technology basically made them archaic. I mean, it used to be when you owned a shield for the taxi. That's that shield, metal shield that's on the hood of the car. Cost like about $1 million, literally. Although
of course the union would pay for it, but yeah.
But what's happening is
not every taxi driver out there is a millionaire.
Well, no, of course not. And the thing is, but the point is, it used to be an investment, and I think basically as this starts to happen more and more, I think we're going to see manned taxi vehicles phase out. And we'll see that it's not going to happen immediately, but I think just like what happened with Blockbuster, and you're going to eventually just you're going to hail a cab, and it'll just be totally self-driving. It'll see you, you can hail it, it'll pick you up.
Maybe there's just going to be like an attendant there who has an assortment of mints and body colognes and aftershave products, and he'll sit in the driver's seat and he'll make small talk with you and kind of just monitor the whole car ride, and you'll go off on your way. I think he never touches the steering wheel.
I think that the monitoring will be done remotely. You'll have one guy who's watching all the video. It's like they'll have cameras on the inside.
So like mall security, but for cars.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. But I think I think eventually that'll happen, and being a taxi cab driver is the future for that as a profession is going by way.
Not a good time to get into the taxi market, at least for big cities, because I can't say this is going to happen all over the world, but in big cities, it's definitely it's definitely something that they're going to try to do. So,
hey, listen, some parts of the world they still have rickshaws, so come on, but
not a good time to get into the rickshaw business either. It's more of a novelty, in places where you can actually get it.
Well, it's like in New York, you can still get a handsome cab, which is the the horse-drawn. Yeah, exactly.
Again, novelty, but hey, it is what it is. Yep. So, but just back on the story real quick. Big automakers, they're trying to get this Nokia mapping service so that they can start competing with autonomous self-driving cars. There's already talk about Audi. They have, I want to say, in their A7 and their A4 and their S4, one of those, but definitely in their A7, they have cars that are already legal to drive over 550 miles in from Silicon Valley to Las Vegas without any human interaction.
Wow.
So like self-driving cars, they're here. They're still very much in research and development, but they're getting farther and farther in more places and much more safe. We're hearing stories every month about a new milestone that was reached.
Yeah,
and
let me point out to you the picture that's in the article we're talking. I'm looking at the Audi piloted driving. They have a guy, he's showing both hands. He's not steering, but look at the car itself. Doesn't have all the antenna and weird gadgets kind of poking out of it. It looks like a very nice car.
This is where self-driving cars are going to start, because Google has all that weird gadgetry, because that's a much more sophisticated, active self-driving car. This is more like, think cruise control, but cruise control on steroids, where it'll keep you in your lane, it'll keep you from hitting the car in front of you, it'll keep you from it'll keep your speed, all this kind of stuff, and on top of that, it will keep you on the proper road.
Yeah.
That's the first instance of self-driving. Like you can't use it on back city streets, but on highways, this is where autonomous driving is going to first pop up. Are these kind of autopiloted highway cars?
Yeah.
But of course, that's not the end of it. Talking again about what Uber is planning and what a lot of different companies are planning, taxis in popular cities. They are, they're going to be self-driving. That's Uber's goal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly.
And I think, as soon as people get a taste of the self-driving car Kool-Aid, people say it's 15, 20 years before this becomes kind of commonplace. I think as soon as people get a taste of what self-driving cars kind of afford you, the demand is going to outpace supply for a decade.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're pretty much out of time here. And thank you all for
90
being with
seconds.
us here on the show tonight. Again, thanks to Rasool from Unikrn. And again, thanks to all of you for being with us here tonight. Now, coming up tomorrow night, a little company called Dell is going to be here. Don Heath, who is the marketing director for Dell, is going to be here talking about some of their newest products. One's going to be a new the Dell Printer Hub.
60 seconds.
Is one of the products, and also the Dell Easy Installer. And we're going to talk about some of their different laptops and multifunction printers. It's going to be a fun show.
Definitely a good show if you have a kid going back to school or a college student going back to school. Check it out. Maybe a product that you hear you might want.
Yeah, exactly. So Dell's going to be with us here in the first hour, and then in hour two, yes, you guessed it, we're going to have computer and technology news. More of that brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, thanks to all of you for being with us here tomorrow night. And Ben and I will see you here tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody. Again, thanks for being with us here tonight. It was a lot of fun. And again, Dell Computer going to be here tomorrow. So that's one you definitely don't want to miss. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow night. So thanks for being with us here. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.